Little girl kicked out by stepmother after the funeral of father. But Millionaire ran in and said, the heavy wooden door of the Collins mansion closed with a dull thud, sealing in the silence that followed the funeral. The ticking of the wall clock echoed through the house like hammer strikes. 6-year-old Emma Collins stood in the hallway, clutching a threadbare teddy bear against her chest, her eyes swollen and raw from crying. That teddy bear was the last gift her mother had given her before the tragic car crash years ago. Now her father, Richard Collins, once a respected businessman and a gentle parent, had been lowered into the ground after a long illness. The vast house suddenly felt enormous, suffocating and hostile. Karen Collins, 35, who had stepped into the role of Emma's stepmother just 2 years earlier, had spent the funeral dabbing fake tears with a handkerchief. But the moment the door closed, her expression shifted. The softness disappeared, replaced by a sharp, cold edge. She turned her gaze to the child with a mixture of disdain and irritation. Emma's small voice trembled. Mom, may I help clean the house for you?" Karen's laugh was dry and cruel. "From now on, I am the mistress here. Don't pretend to be sweet to win my pity. You mean nothing." Emma froze, squeezing the teddy bear tighter. At that moment, the front door opened again. A man entered, dragging a suitcase across the floor with a loud thump. It was Robert Hayes, Richard's younger brother. For years he had been known as a useless relative who lived off his brother's shadow. Yet now, his eyes gleamed with a dangerous kind of confidence. He threw himself into a chair, uncapped the whiskey bottle on the table, and gulped deeply before sneering at Emma. "Well, hello there. From now on, I'm the one in this house. Your father's gone, and so is his kindness." Emma's voice cracked. Uncle, why are you here? This is my dad's house." Karen's sharp reply sliced the air. "Your father is dead. This house belongs to me now, and my man is Robert. You're nothing here. Either stay silent or get out." Tears blurred Emma's vision as Robert chuckled darkly. "Look at you, pathetic, clutching that ragged toy like a beggar. Your father spoiled you rotten, and now you think you're special? You're nothing but a burden." Emma whimpered. "I'll be good. I won't be any trouble." But Karen's face twisted with cruelty. She snatched Emma's suitcase, ripped the teddy bear from her arms, and hurled it into the yard. Grabbing a bucket of icy water, she dragged Emma outside. "You cursed child," she spat. "Your parents died because of you. Just looking at you disgusts me." She dumped the water over the trembling girl. Emma gasped, her body shaking violently in the cold, while Robert crushed the teddy bear under his shoe with a sneer. "Fits her perfectly," he mocked, "like a stray mutt." Neighbors peeked from their windows, but quickly shut their doors, unwilling to interfere. Emma collapsed onto the wet ground, hugging the sodden teddy bear, her cries muffled by the night. "Daddy," she whispered brokenly. "Where am I supposed to go now?" Just then, the sound of an engine broke the silence. A sleek black Cadillac stopped abruptly at the gate. A tall man in a tailored suit stepped out, his gaze freezing at the sight of the soaked little girl. His jaw tightened, memories of his own harsh childhood flashing behind his eyes. Slowly, he removed his coat and draped it over Emma's shoulders. His voice came out low and firm. "Richard hasn't been gone a day. And this is how you treat his daughter." The man was Ethan Collins, Richard's cousin, a self-made millionaire with a reputation as a cold strategist. Yet seeing Emma's shivering frame, his hardened exterior cracked. Emma's tiny fingers clutched his coat desperately, as though it was the only lifeline she had left. Ethan's piercing eyes fixed on Karen and Robert. His voice carried restrained fury. "Richard was my family. I won't let his daughter be treated like this." Karen blinked quickly, forcing a false tear down her cheek. "You misunderstood, Ethan. I was only disciplining her. Emma is stubborn and disrespects her uncle. I didn't mean to hurt her." Robert smirked, leaning back in his chair and blowing cigarette smoke. "Stay out of this, Ethan. You weren't even around when Richard was alive. Don't come now pretending to be a hero. This is our family matter." Ethan's jaw clenched. Memories cut deep, his own stepfather's fists, his mother's neglect, the nights he hid under the table praying for safety. Richard had once saved him from that nightmare. And now Richard's little girl stood before him, trembling the same way he once had. Ethan would not let history repeat itself. Emma tugged at his sleeve, her voice no louder than a whisper. "Uncle, don't leave me. They'll throw me out again, please." That single plea sealed Ethan's decision. His voice came out firm and final. "She's coming with me." Karen's lips tightened, but before she could protest, Robert leaned over and muttered, "Let him take her. That brat will crawl back when he realizes she's nothing but a burden." Karen forced a bitter smile. "Fine. If you want to play the noble guardian, go ahead. But don't say I didn't warn you, she brings misfortune." Ignoring them, Ethan bent down, lifted Emma into his arms, and walked out through the gate. The Cadillac's door closed softly behind them, shutting out the venom of the house. Inside the car, Emma sat stiffly, clutching her wet teddy bear as though it might vanish. Her fragile voice broke the silence. "Sir, will you leave me too, like she did?" Ethan gripped the wheel tightly, his knuckles whitening. He didn't answer right away, afraid his voice might break. Instead, he pressed harder on the accelerator, determined to give her the safety she deserved. They arrived at his penthouse, a modern apartment overlooking the city. The doorman nodded respectfully, but when his eyes fell on Emma's soaked clothes, he hesitated. Ethan's sharp look silenced any questions. Inside, he handed Emma a towel and set down a sweater far too big for her small frame. While she changed in the bathroom, Ethan warmed a pot of chicken soup. When she came out, the oversized sweater swallowed her tiny figure. He placed the steaming bowl before her. Emma hesitated, then whispered, "I'll only eat a little. I don't want anyone to yell at me." Ethan sat opposite her, his tone steady. "In this home, you don't need permission to eat. You don't need to fear being scolded. You are free to be a child." Emma blinked at him, uncertain, but slowly lifted the spoon. Between timid bites, she kept glancing at him as though testing if his kindness was real. Halfway through the bowl, she paused. Her voice was small, trembling. "Do you hate me too?" "No one has the right to hate a child for existing," Ethan replied firmly. "You are Richard's daughter. That is your truth. No one can take it from you." Her eyes filled, but she forced the tears back. "They said I was bad luck." "You are not cursed," Ethan said quietly. "You are precious, and you are safe here." He placed a soft blanket over her legs. "This house is not a showroom. It's a place meant to be lived in. You don't need to shrink yourself." That night, Ethan guided her to the guest room. He placed a moon-shaped lamp by her bed and handed her water. Emma slipped under the covers, clutching her teddy bear. In the dark, her muffled sobs reached Ethan sitting just outside the door. He closed his eyes, memories of his own broken childhood stirring painfully. Richard had once been his lifeline. Now, it was his turn to protect Richard's child. As the night deepened, Emma's bear slipped from her grasp, knocking against the bed frame. From its torn seam, something hard glinted faintly in the dim light. A hidden secret, waiting to be discovered. Morning sunlight slipped through the blinds. Emma, now dressed in the oversized sweater Ethan had given her, sat quietly at the table with her teddy bear. While folding the worn fabric around its torn ear, her small fingers brushed against something hidden inside. She pulled out a tiny silver USB stick, her eyes wide with surprise. "Uncle Ethan, the bear is broken, and there's something inside," she whispered. Ethan came closer, his expression tightening when he saw the drive. Together they inserted it into his laptop. One file appeared, a recording dated nearly a year earlier. Ethan clicked play. Richard's weak, weary voice filled the room. "Robert, what is this medicine? It makes my heart race. I don't need it." Robert's flat voice replied, "It's prescribed. Just take it." A long pause, then Karen's whisper slithered through the speakers. "Let him drink more. The sooner he dies, the better." Emma's spoon clattered against the table. Tears spilled down her cheeks. They killed my dad." Ethan placed a steady hand over hers. His voice was calm, but burning with anger. "Your father didn't want you to live in fear. He left this truth for you. Now it's our duty to make sure justice finds them." He quickly saved multiple backups, emailing his attorney, William Anderson, a trusted lawyer who had guided him through many battles. Anderson's firm voice over the phone was clear. "Keep the original safe. Do not send anything electronically. I'll come today." Ethan knelt to Emma's eye level. "We'll eat breakfast. Then someone I trust will come. He's quiet, but he always stands on the side of truth." Emma nodded, clutching her bear tightly. That afternoon, Ethan and Emma met Anderson at his office. Alongside the recording, they brought copies of Richard's medical schedule and financial documents. Anderson examined everything, his expression grave. "We have evidence of poisoning, potential forgery in company shares, and child abuse," he said. "We'll file for emergency guardianship and protection orders, but you must prepare. Karen and Robert won't sit quietly." His words proved true. The next day, headlines exploded across the media. "Millionaire Ethan Collins kidnaps child to seize assets." Karen, dressed in black, wept before cameras, clutching Richard's portrait, while Robert posed as the grieving uncle. Ethan ignored the noise. He focused on Emma, guiding her through each step. At the library, a young archivist named Emily Carter helped them cross-check signatures on stock transfer contracts. The dates clashed with hospital records, proving Richard couldn't have signed. She whispered to Emma, "I believe you," giving the girl her first glimmer of trust outside Ethan. Soon after, witnesses came forward. Dorothy, a neighbor, confessed she had seen Karen and Robert drench Emma with cold water, but had been too afraid to speak. Frank, a homeless man nearby, confirmed the same story. Anderson assured them both protection. When the day of the hearing arrived, Emma walked into family court holding Ethan's hand. Judge Patricia Coleman presided, her gavel striking order into the room. Karen wept on cue, accusing Ethan of abduction, while Robert sat stiff, his face unreadable. But when Anderson played the USB recording, the courtroom froze. Richard's voice trembled through the speakers, followed by Karen's venomous whisper. Gasps rippled through the gallery. Robert leapt up, shouting, "Fake!" But Anderson calmly submitted a forensic verification report. Dorothy testified, her voice shaking but firm. Frank followed, saying, "No child should live the way I did on the streets. I saw what they did." Finally, Emma herself stood, her voice tiny but strong. "If they cared about me, they wouldn't have thrown water on me. They laughed when I cried. I don't want to go back." The judge studied her for a long moment before striking the gavel. This court grants temporary guardianship of Emma Collins to Ethan Collins. Karen Collins and Robert Hayes will be detained for investigation on charges of poisoning, fraud, and abuse. Karen collapsed in her seat. Robert froze as officers cuffed him. Reporters' cameras flashed like lightning, but all Emma saw was Ethan's steady presence beside her. She threw herself into his arms, whispering through tears, "Do I have anyone left?" Ethan's embrace was firm and unwavering. "Yes, you still have me, and you still have yourself." Weeks later, the once cold house where Emma had been tormented transformed into something new. The Harbor Light Center, a place for children in need. Neighbors and friends gathered to help. Emily stocked shelves with books, Dorothy sewed curtains, Frank built furniture with his hands, and Linda from the corner cafe brought food and warmth. On Christmas Eve, under twinkling lights, Emma wore a purple scarf Ethan had gifted her. She opened a letter her father had left hidden inside the teddy bear. His words read, "If you are reading this, it means the truth has come to light. Trust Ethan. He will protect you." Emma pressed the letter to her chest, tears glistening, but this time they weren't from sorrow. Looking up at Ethan, she spoke clearly for the first time. "Dad, from now on, I'm not afraid anymore." Ethan's eyes grew wet as he whispered back, "And you will never be alone again." The room filled with laughter, warmth, and hope. Justice had been served. The darkness had been broken, and Emma had finally found her light.